Welcome back to episode 15 of Hockey. Actually, everyone, I'm Izzy. This is Nicolleta, and we are coming to you about, has it been 12 hours yet? A little over 12 hours after the Vancouver Goldeneyes' historic home opener at the Pacific Coliseum, where they won 4-3 in overtime against the Seattle Torrent. I don't think you could draw up a better storyline than that, if we're being honest. Um,
Right.
we were both at the game last night. We got to take things in from all different sides of the ice. So we'll just start with that. We'll start this episode off on a positive note by talking about the home opener. Uh, this
It
was
was so
your
cool.
first PWHL game. What were your thoughts? What tell us how the whole night went for you?
The whole night. It was really cool. It was a very cool experience, I'm not gonna lie. The crowd itself was absolutely nuts. Like, I think the Pacific Coliseum, it's like what, 15,000, almost 15,000 people. And I swear every single one of those people were cheering. And it was crazy when they were announcing the players, how loud the arena was. Their ceremony was very cool too.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we want to touch on that, but their ceremony was
Oh
well
yeah.
done. I thought it wasn't like too long, short and sweet, got the job done, gave
Mm-hmm.
hype, and
Excited the
yeah,
fans. Yeah. Like I think
exactly.
the coolest part about that though is like you see it's almost like women's sports supporting women's sports where you see Christine Sinclair come out to drop the puck, right? Like that's
That
crazy.
was
That's
so
so
cool.
cool. And then of course you've got like a former women's hockey like icon from Vancouver, Megan Augusta, who delivers the puck itself. It's like a lot of really cool elements to just everything. And then you see the cheers that all like the players who are from BC got when they're skating out of the tunnel. That was so cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was fantastic. Like,
Like,
not to take away from the other players that were
mhm.
from different provinces or from states, but like Vancouver really loves Vancouver.
Oh yeah. Like just imagine you're like Jen Gardner or Hannah Miller or Nina Joe Smith and you're like skating out and you've maybe been to this venue before as like a fan and now you're a player and like you've got family, friends and whatnot in the audience. Like
Yeah,
it's just cool. Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what it would have been like for those players. It's probably a very surreal moment.
Oh yeah.
And even just after the game, I probably would have, like, if I were them, I would have taken like a second and just like kind of taken it all in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
When they like grouped up at the end when they won an OT, it was so rewarding, and just watching the crowd and all the towels, and
Yeah.
because you were in the press box, but I was up top in the gondola, so I saw literally everyone. There were people behind me who could like barely see the arena. But
Behind?
yeah, behind. Like, okay, so the gondola is like in the middle, right? But the Pacific Coliseum goes all the way
Oh,
up.
right. Yeah. Hmm.
So they were seated like up here, pretty much
Oh.
in line with the gondola. And I swear that they were louder than the people up front. Like, they were the ones starting the chants. They were the ones who were going for it. And I made a little tweet about it yesterday, but just seeing the amount of kids, especially the little girls,
Mhm.
it was remarkable. It was so rewarding because you can see that Vancouver is really embracing PWHL.
Mhm.
And I mean, you love to see it. It's fantastic. How was your experience?
I think because like where the way the press box is situated for those who don't know, it's like literally right in the stands. It's just gated off a little bit from like the other like sections. So if you're sitting there, you're pretty much right in it. Like you're maybe like a couple feet away from the next fan. But I think that in a way, like it makes you feel like you're part of the crowd as well. Whereas like other arenas I know are a little farther up or like to the side. I guess it depends on the person whether they like that or not for their coverage, but you can really like you can get a really good look at not just what's going on the ice, but like you see the fans in the sections beside you, what they're doing, they're cheering and stuff. There was one girl in the section like to my right who was trying to get a wave going, and she's like, "Come on, guys." I don't know if they actually ended up getting that done, but that's okay. Uh,
It's the thought that counts.
exactly, yeah. And like just one thing that like, because I covered the Takeover tour when they played here in January. One thing I noticed about that a lot compared to, say, a Canucks game or like a Giants game is the amount of signs that'll say stuff like future PWHL player, or like there was one I saw, it said like, uh, I don't remember how it was worded, but you can't spell hero without her. Like all these little like signs, and you just see that all around the concourse, around like the rink, all these people carrying them. And one thing I did find really neat, because I did take a little walk around the concourse, is there was a station, I think, that the team actually set up where you could make your own signs.
Yeah. I thought that was very clever. I saw them.
Mhm.
I saw like some of the signs that were being host like they did those very well, by might I add.
I know, right?
The
Like,
one with the baby, the future GoldenEye one. I don't know if you
mhm.
know which one I'm
I saw
talking
that.
about.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but I was like, how did you whip that up?
Right? Like
But
they're
yeah,
nicely drawn too. And I think just the element of having that there, like that kind of station, I think that was a great little touch that like people might not have seen on the broadcast, right?
I
Um,
completely agree.
what else can we talk about that like people might not have seen on the broadcast? Because of course the game itself was fantastic, but like
The
the
game was good.
off ice production was great too. Like
Yeah,
we have a goal song for the Goldeneyes. It's "Let's Get Loud" by J Lo, which I don't mind. I like that. It was pretty.
I don't mind it either.
The first play, it was neat. I was kind of like, what are they gonna play? But
No, I like that. I think it was crowded. You made a post on Twitter about just the like the arena itself, like people walking around during periods, and I was like,
people were not walking around during periods. That's the thing. I don't think they could get
they
past.
were shuffling. They were
Yeah.
like little waddle. It was very busy.
I guess that's the downside though of like the Coliseum is great, but when you only have the one concourse and you've got an upper and a lower bowl, everyone is on that concourse, right?
Yeah.
But
So maybe if you're going to a PWHL game, be prepared to come a
yes.
little early, get your snacks, and don't move.
Another thing that I saw a lot of people posting about was the merch, like the team store, the
Oh yeah.
lineup pre-game. Like I think literally looped around like the I'm not really sure. I didn't see it. I just saw
I
them.
didn't see it either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh
like
my God.
that, even like concession and stuff, it was really busy, but like that's a good thing, right?
I mean, no complaints. I think Sarah Nurse actually made a comment about it. How they have only had a logo for 2 weeks,
Yep.
and literally everyone had a piece of Golden Eyes merch.
Right.
And she was like, no tea, no shade. And I was
She's
like,
like no shade,
no
but
shade, yeah. And I was like, you know what? You're not wrong though. Like that's crazy. Just the shipping.
yeah.
Like they ensured that people had their merch for that first game.
Or unless they came right when the doors opened and
Yeah.
bought it that night. Like,
Yeah. Well, to be totally honest, the merch store wasn't as big as I anticipated it to be.
hmm
I
yeah.
walked past it and I was gonna get something, but then I was like, no, I'm working. I shouldn't do that.
And you probably saw the line and you're
Yeah, and then I saw the line and I was like, no, definitely not today.
like, ah,
Um,
okay. End of season.
yeah, but it wasn't large. So I can understand why the line was so big,
hmm
but you couldn't fit like a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the majority of people had pre-purchased.
Mm,
But
yeah. Okay.
yeah, it was very cool. It was very cool nonetheless to see. I really like the logo. I've become
Mhm.
very fond of it. I
Yeah.
think it's clean, cool, and maybe it's not reflective of what a GoldenEye actually looks like, but I think it looks very cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I don't know if many sports logos are accurate to the
Yeah, that's fair. Definitely a lot cooler than
Yeah.
most.
Oh yeah. What else? The music. The music is something I think.
He killed it.
You look at, say, Canucks games, you might find more rock or like heavy metal or rap. Here, I was hearing like Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus,
It
Ariana
was like
Grande, a lot of like 80s
2000s.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
was good
and they
mix.
did play the Goldeneyes song, the from James Bond. So they really leaned into that, which honestly, good for them. They saw the opportunity, they ran with it.
Yeah. I think actually that's a very good point. I think that management has really leaned like they're like if we're gonna go for it, we're gonna go all in.
Mhm.
And they really leaned into it and it paid off.
Oh yeah.
Because
And it is
you
paying off, right?
and
Like
it is paying off.
mhm.
Yeah. It's fantastic to see it all come together as well.
Mhm.
And everything was so clean and well done. And I was talking to Liz, who's the media contact for it, for those of you that don't know. And she was like, yeah, the most stressful part is almost over. It's when the puck drop finishes, but it's been quite the week. And I was like, I can only imagine what you guys have been
Yeah,
going
right.
through. Like the amount of work that went into setting this up, you can see that the staff really cared.
Mhm.
And it's really rewarding to see how much people have embraced the Golden Eyes.
Oh yeah.
Even who mentioned it? Yeah, I think it was also Sarah who mentioned Sarah Nurse who mentioned the support from other Vancouver
Yeah.
teams
Mhm.
has been exquisite.
Oh yeah.
Like there were people from the Vancouver Canucks, BC Lions,
The Rise, Vancouver
the
Rise.
Rise.
I'm sure the Whitecaps and Thomas Muller would have been there last night if they didn't have the massive game tonight.
Today.
Well, today, if this goes up on Sunday, yesterday.
Yeah.
But, um, yeah, and that is something like I agree that we've seen the Golden Eyes out at a lot of games. Like I remember seeing them at Rise games, Canucks games, Lions games, Whitecaps games, like all the, the echelon of Vancouver sports right now or whatever. And to see them coming back and kind of being like, yeah, you have our support too is really neat.
Yeah. And I think she mentioned that because she played for Toronto and that wasn't the case there.
Yeah.
So I think it speaks a lot to Vancouver's culture
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
just how supportive the city is of what's going on. I think it's unlike anything I've ever
Mm-hmm.
experienced and probably gonna be one for the books.
Exactly. One thing I do also want to add that not to make it about the guys, and I don't like it, but I personally actually saw a lot of guys in the audience as well, which I feel like is
Yeah.
something that people like, as much as people are like, oh, women's sports, some might think it's just women who support women's sports, right? But the amount of guys in the audience, I was actually very surprised. Guys with their girlfriends, guys with their sisters or moms, and or just guys in general. Like,
I think there was like
not
a group
women
of
with
guys
them.
sitting right
Yeah.
behind, like, yeah, like in the stands, there was
Yeah.
like a group of guys. And I was like, you know what? Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm so proud.
Right. And I even see some of them with Golden Eyes jerseys already. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how did you get that so quickly? But yeah. So
A very
that was
cool
also neat to
experience.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Do we want to talk about the game itself?
I think we shall. I was gonna say, shall we
Yeah.
can move on to the on ice product?
Yeah. I did just write an article. Well, not just write, but an article just came out that I wrote about the game. And if you guys want to go take a read it, it's got all of the information that you may need, some players to look out for. Um, but yeah, what was your opinion of maybe how the night went on ice?
On ice, I don't want to start it out negatively, but I do think there were some things to work on. Um,
Yes.
Power play did not convert at all, and they actually went scoreless on the power play during both of their preseason games. So I do think that is something to consider or look out for moving forward. Um, One thing I did notice though is they did fire a lot of close range shots at Schroeder. I think at one point in the game, probably earlier on, it was mostly, if not all, Vancouver. And then things kind of shifted, right?
Yeah.
But one player, and I know that throughout the press box, and then like we like some of the media people, we talked about this a lot. One player that really stood out to me was Abby Boreen. And I think you did mention her in your article, but
Did. Yeah.
uh she was just, you could see her all over the ice last night, right? Like of course she gets the game winning goal in overtime, but another thing that I had noticed is when she was helping set up Gabby Rosenthal's goal, I believe that was the 2-2 goal.
Yeah.
Kind of made this really nice pass on the blue line where she's kind of got her back towards like Rosenthal and she like kind of tucks it between her legs to
Between
get
her
it to
legs.
her.
That was so cool.
That was neat. I know. And
Yeah.
like I I was lucky to catch that in real time. Usually if I spot a play like that during a goal, it's on a like like
Recap.
the
Yeah.
recap, right? Yeah, because usually I'm too busy going like, oh, who was that? But seeing that was really neat. You see that kind of like a skill, talent from her. She did end up finishing the game with the most shots on goal, I believe, of the Goldeneyes with 7. And
Yeah.
then she played like what 20 minutes, I think, which is like one of the higher time on ice logs for forwards last night. So really impressed with her game last night. See if she can keep the momentum up. See if they can all keep the momentum up.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was she had mentioned how she didn't actually know where Rosenthal was for that under the leg pass. And I was just like, way to flex on everyone. Like,
Oh yeah, it's just casual.
it's just, like it just happened and it worked out. And I'm like, dude, you gotta take credit. That was a good pass.
Right.
Like, yeah. Um, I think I kind of broke it down in my article, but in my opinion, the first two periods, other than like off the get-go of the first period, just seemed to lack overall urgency. And there was a lot of dumping and not a lot of chasing. And then I think one thing that I really took notice was handling of the puck. It
Mm,
seemed to be kind of like, I don't know if you noticed, but the puck kind of was bouncing everywhere, all over
yeah.
the place. And some of the players tried to control it, but then it just seemed to kind of get away from them, or maybe it was moving too fast. Um, so I think maybe just control, especially in the ozone, would
Yeah.
be ideal to work on. And I think Brian also mentioned that
Yeah.
in the press. Um, but I think they really turned it around in the third period. And you were like, at some point I was kind of questioning, I was like, is this the team that everyone is like super raging about? Like why are there so many little mistakes? Like this is the kind of stuff that should be, second nature at this point because these players have been playing hockey for so long. But you saw the turnaround almost immediately off the get-go of the third period. And it was really rewarding to see them play and be confident and actually look for each other when passing and not just randomly passing
Yeah.
and hoping that the person is there, like setting up plays and scanning the ice.
Mhm.
I think that was a big change and it paid off because they ended up winning.
I do think part of, if not most of what would factor into that and how they played throughout is probably the overall emotions of the night, right? Like you look
Yeah.
at like say how many of these players are from BC who are probably like tearing up, right? And it's hard to focus, right? Like even I kind of found at different points I was like you're taking all this in and it's hard to reset and like keep your eye on what needs to be like focused on, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, and also just the fact that most of these girls, I think, only got in to Vancouver a couple days before training camp, which was last week. So they're still kind of like,
They're adjusting.
yeah, exactly. They're adjusting. They only have like 2 preseason games under their belt. I don't know if you can consider those like actual in-game experience. it's one of those things I think maybe like as the season progresses, you'll see them tidy up those smaller mistakes or like get a little cleaner when it
Cleaner.
comes to their possession and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah, I think I included yes. I included a quote from Idalski where I think I asked him, I was like, okay, like as fantastic as the game was, let's talk about the
the
hockey
game.
aspect,
Yeah.
the game itself. What are things that you think the team can improve on, or maybe what they did really well? And to quote, he said, "We know our group has talent. Playing from behind doesn't mean we can't score goals. Some of the mistakes were easily correctable and were first game things like structure, discipline, and puck management, but no reason to panic."
Mhm.
So I think he was also aware that the puck was bouncing a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's promising to see a coach actually not, I don't want to say confront, like be open and honest about their
Oh
mistakes.
yeah. Hmm.
I don't like it when people make excuses because at the end of the day, that was their performance and you can't like yes, it's explainable, not excusable,
Hmm.
but I like that he was like, "Yep, these are the things we need to work on. These are the things we did well, but we're going to make sure to address it and make sure that it's being worked on going forward." And I quite liked his
Candor, like the
yes.
bluntness. I think that's something I've noticed as well about him is he's very honest. Like and like I think when you've got a dressing room that's kind of filled with Walter Cup champions, like Olympic gold medalists, all these different people. And if at any point either you get too high on yourself or you get too distracted, he's gonna come in there and he's gonna help set the room right, right?
Yeah.
Like he'll face you and be like, listen, like we need to tighten up, we need to do this, right? Like he's not gonna skirt
Yeah,
around
he's
things, try to
exactly. I think it was also somebody asked him about Mashmeyer and they were like, "Oh, she was playing fantastically. Like what did you think of her performance?" And he was so candid in his response that I gained so much respect for him. He goes, "She's a veteran player, so she performed the way you would expect a veteran player to perform."
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? Good for you for not praising, like overpraising her and being like, yeah, she should be able to do that. And that's what she's here to do, Like she's capable, she did it. That's the end of the story. And I really like his response. He seems a little deadpan sometimes, but I think it's in good nature.
Yes.
So I quite like the coach.
Mhm.
I think he's gonna do some good things for the Goldeneyes.
I think one thing we can't really skip over talking about with the home opener is the first ever goal in GoldenEye's history scored by, of course, none other than Sarah Nurse. I mean,
It
like
had to be.
yeah,
It was
like
written in the script. It had to
yeah,
be.
yeah. Like you just know, like at that point, like it was gonna happen,
Yeah.
right? It was gonna
Well,
happen.
I have her post-game quote on scoring the first goal in GoldenEye's history. I was thinking I needed to get it to carve. When you're on a 2-on-1 with an elite player like that, you want to get her the puck. I didn't have a great passing lane though, so I thought, pop it off the pad and it'll go right to her. It ended up fooling Schroeds, so I was just as surprised as anyone that it went in. Super cool moment. So I think she was like, damn, okay, that's cool. That went in.
Right? It's kind of giving the same vibes as Boreen being like, I didn't know Gabby was there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it happened, so, and I'm not upset about it. Was it
Exactly.
intentional?
Ooh,
But
you can figure that out yourself, right?
yeah.
Uh, continuing on about the game, this was also the Seattle Torrent's first game in PWHL history. Of course, not a home opener. Theirs is next week, I believe. But
28.
yeah, 28th. But we still got to see two PWHL expansion teams deking it out. a lot of people have kind of tested the waters and like made little remarks about a Vancouver Seattle rivalry potentially. Uh I don't know, last night looked a little scrappy. There were some pretty big hits. At one point, Emma Greco really went in there to defend Mashmeyer. I want to say
Yeah.
during the
And I was
second.
like,
Yep, yep.
you gotta get the goal. You know what? Your goalie is, as Brian Idalski said, it's like your quarterback,
Hmm.
sets the tone.
Yep,
You do not mess
exactly. You don't
with your
mess with the
goalie. Yeah,
goalie.
you don't mess with the goalie.
Yep. And props to Greco for standing on business.
Exactly, yeah. So,
Uh, I
cheers.
asked Torrent captain Hilary Knight a bit about potential for a rivalry, and she pretty much just said, quote, I think it's a natural rivalry. I think all these games are incredibly tight. And when you sort of have that border battle where we're only a few hours away, the fans really get invested. Uh, we obviously get invested. It's a great rivalry. She kind of mentioned, she poked a little bit of fun at Vancouver fans, saying she's expecting 15,000 people and to be in attendance every time they come up to Vancouver. And she also mentioned that she definitely expects Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, which is the Torrent's home barn, to be much louder once they play there. So take that as you will, Goldeneyes fans. Take that as you will, Torrent fans. Do we
Nah,
have a rivalry brewing? Who knows?
well, I think it's evident that it's there. Tensions are tight, especially when they had the first two preseason games against them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, okay, these
Yeah.
teams, they want to compete.
Oh yeah.
They
Mm-hmm.
they're there. They're actually, I think that the Torrent are very physical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're very physical.
Yeah. I think I counted. Had 33 hits last night. Vancouver
Yeah.
had 22.
Yeah.
Sedin
So,
numbers. Fun fact.
yeah.
That was very random.
Shout out.
Sedin numbers, but
That's funny.
but yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that I don't know if they were trying to lean into that and trying to get the Goldeneyes like tired, but or like just physically out of shape. And then there was, oh, what was the player that walked off? I'm not super familiar with the Torrent.
I think it was Te
It starts with a T, but I don't.
Teralova, I think.
Yeah.
Data Teralova, I think, was the one who left. Yeah, Teralova.
Yeah. And that was a pretty big hit, but like she initiated it. So,
Yeah. And what's it called? So on that little news, she left last night's game with a lower body injury. Don't know the status,
yeah, the
but
update was it's a lower body injury.
that's all we got.
Yeah. But I'm sure she'll be okay. She seemed to walk off pretty not great. I think it was her right right
Mhm.
leg. Yeah,
I
if I'm
think
not mistaken.
initially after she had returned to the bench, I believe, but then she left again. So
Yeah.
if she returns and something's not feeling right, obviously something
Something.
is off, right?
Yeah.
One other thing we have seen throughout the past couple days and at the Goldeneyes home opener is, of course, support from other teams, and that includes the Vancouver Canucks, who had four of their players walk into their game on Thursday night wearing Goldeneyes jerseys. Jake, if I read the jersey numbers properly, Jake DeBrusk came in wearing Goldeneyes captain Ashton Bell's jersey. Kiefer Sherwood came in wearing Claire Thompson's. Kevin Lankinen came in wearing hometown hero Jen Gardner's. And of course, Aatu Räty arrived in a Michaela Kava jersey.
I loved that Aatu Räty got it Ubered to him.
Right?
I was like, what an icon. You know what? Like, he's grown on me so much, so immensely, not just on the ice, but as a human. I appreciated that.
I also learned for the first time through that you could get a jersey Ubered to.
Ubered to you.
Like, hello, that's a thing. But yeah, and honestly, like of all the players who have been supporting the Golden Knights from what we see, I feel like Ratu is definitely like he stands out a lot with that. Uh,
Yeah.
of course, after Thursday's game, Ratu had also mentioned that he was really excited about it and he was looking for tickets. It was sold out at the time, so people didn't know if he was going to be able to make it, but
He
he did.
did.
And so did a few other Canucks who ended up in a little suite watching the game. From what we remember or think we saw, Thatcher Demko was there, Teddy Bluger was there, Nils Hoglander, of course, Aatu Räty. Uh, and I want to say I saw Linus Carlson, but no one else has said it. So now I'm like,
Oh,
did
yeah.
I see something like it?
I can't say that I saw him
I thought
or heard
I
that he
thought
was
he
there.
was sitting with Hoglander. That's the thing. That's what I
No.
saw when they showed them on the Jumbotron, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm gaslighting myself.
I don't know. Maybe you see what you wanted to see.
I know. But
Not
yeah, Ratu was wearing a jersey, of course. I believe some people saw him on the concourse as well. And the coolest part about that is when they showed him on the Jumbotron, he had one of those signs, like the signs you can make, that had Michelle Carvinen on it, which is so neat. I think he even mentioned on Thursday post game that he had taken note of the fact that Carvinen was on the team, and he was like, "Oh, I want to go see. Like, I'm really excited." So
yeah.
the support from these Canucks players has been great. One other thing I think to mention about the players that were there on Friday is Demko's wife, Lexi, actually played in the NCAA as a goaltender with the University of North Dakota. So there's a connection.
Support.
Exactly.
I also just wanted to say that I think it's so cute that he's like fangirling, sorry, Aatu Räty, he's like fangirling over his Finnish his Finnish counterpart. I think that's
Right?
adorable.
He's just like, oh, national team hero.
Yep. He's like, oh, this queen, let
Right.
me go support.
I didn't see what jersey he had on yesterday. I don't know if you did. I didn't see the number.
No, because he was sitting down.
Yeah, and you couldn't really see like the shoulder.
Yeah.
So
I'm assuming it was Carvinen's, but you never know.
exactly. So
Yeah.
who knows? But that was neat to see from for the Vancouver hockey fans out there who were wondering if the Canucks would come out and support. They did.
They did.
Yeah. But moving on to the Canucks.
Yay.
Episode tone just took like a sad like
Yeah.
uh
We'll try and stay positive.
yeah, we had two players make their Canucks debuts over the past week. Last Monday, David Kämpf, who was signed by the Canucks, I want to say it was on Friday or Saturday, signed by the Canucks after terminating his contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he made his Canucks debut on Monday against the Florida Panthers in an 8-5 loss. Realistically,
I don't think he played bad.
yeah. Yeah. But the what when you look at the score, it just looks like
Yeah. I
yikes.
think I think that's a team issue though, not a Kämpf issue.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I also it was Patera in net, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Eight. 8 goals. Mm, there's some work that needs to be done.
I
Was it because Lankinen was injured?
No, it's because they played Tampa the night before. So back to back, and
Oh, back to back is tough. Yeah, and you
you
don't
don't
want
want to,
to injure injury
especially
prone.
especially since Lankinen played, I think it was in the past 6 games prior to that, including a back to back. I think they're kind of just like, you
Yeah,
can't ride this guy
yeah.
the whole season, or
Yeah.
however long it takes for Demko to return. But uh yeah, like
I have some things about the Vancouver goaltending, but maybe maybe we can talk about that another time.
we can talk about that once we've gotten through Kampf, I guess. But Kampf
Yeah.
was okay, right? Not fantastic,
Average.
not bad.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
And it's hard to gauge, right? Because he's only been with the team for 2 games now, right? So he's still, of course, he's trying to find his footing. He hasn't played in an NHL, like prior to his time with the Canucks, he hadn't played in an NHL game this season yet because he'd spent some time in the AHL and then ultimately didn't want to play in the AHL. That led to the contract termination with the Leafs. But so he's rusty, right? Like he's a little rusty, but one positive, he did go 11 for 15 in the faceoff dot, which
That's
is,
awesome.
yeah, which is an aspect that Vancouver brought him in for, was for his work in the faceoff dot, his penalty killing skills. Once I think he has a better grip on the systems that the Canucks play in, as well as how the team works and kind of familiarizing himself with them a little more, I think you'll start to see more of that defensive like aspect that a lot of
Yeah.
people are clamoring for him to have. So overall, he was okay. He has been okay. We'll see how things go.
Yeah, I think people anticipate these new players that Vancouver's bringing to like fix everything, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Like to magically go from like, okay, we're struggling to, oh, this player's on the ice now, like everything's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case. Like he's not a magician, guys. He
And
can't
there are very few players who can make that big of a difference throughout a
that
whole game,
quickly. Yeah.
right? Yeah. Uh,
So I think people need to be a little bit more patient with the people that they're bringing on, including the Vancouver Canucks, which kind of may lead us to the next topic if you want to
I
take
was
that.
gonna say that sets us up perfectly for Lukas Reichel, who is apparently now back on the trading block after literally like
It
not
was,
even a month after Vancouver
I
traded.
was gonna say it's like 2.5 weeks maybe.
Yeah, right. Like, okay, some
What's your
people
opinion? What's your
like
opinion?
some people it's tough because Reichel previously, prior to when the Canucks brought him on, did not play center much at all. Like, if even at the NHL level.
That was my point.
Yeah, he comes to Vancouver, all of a sudden, he does not leave the center. Like he does not leave the middle of the ice. Um, and I think, especially for a player that's like as young as he is, I think he's like what 20, 22, something like that.
I think he's quite young, yeah.
Like he's very young to bring in a player who isn't used to playing that role, and then like you come into this team who is so like weak on center right now and you expect him to fill that role. I don't quite agree with that. I see why you need to do it, but I
He's
don't.
23.
Yeah, so like really
He's
young,
young.
right? And like of course like that's partially why they brought Kämpf in, right? Like is because they need someone on center to take more of those defensive matchups, which Reichel wasn't really doing. And I think you saw that most when they bumped him from the second line to the fourth line. You saw his minutes get reduced, and ultimately that ended up with him being healthy scratched on Thursday. So, like, I feel like it's hard because they do need centers so badly right now. But I don't think Reichel is what you like, not the center you needed. Put him on wing. That's what
Okay.
everyone's saying, and I agree with that.
I was gonna say, I think because they're so laser focused on finding a center, they're just like, okay, this guy isn't what we need. Let's get rid of him.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
But when he was playing and playing well, there was promising, like he had quite a few plays where I was like, okay, you know what? Like this kid seems like he has talent. Like he can do stuff. Why would you get rid of that?
Because it's the Canucks.
The Canucks. Like I don't, and like I guess in theory, you keep Lucas, you have to get rid of someone else.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make any sense because I think he holds maybe a little bit more potential than some of the current players
Mhm.
on the roster.
And I think
So,
one other thing like that we do have to consider with this as well is there was a rumor that had broken out last night or maybe Thursday, like I don't know if many people have talked about it, but actually, I just got a notification for someone who wrote an article about it literally right now. That's funny. But
That's hilarious.
they were that the Canucks were actually actively considering trading Garland for a second line center. Like that was in their minds. We don't know if that's going to happen. Of course, we hope that's not going to happen, but that was something I think that had crossed their minds at one point. So, if you're if they're looking at moving on from Garland, like, and you still want to move on from Reichel, what does that leave you in your top six?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right? Because then you have, uh, and I don't want to beat up on players, but you have someone who has the potential to provide offense and is young in Reichel. And then you have Evander Kane, who makes $5 million a year, who is still in the top six.
We're okay. I think there's a lot of controversy over Kane's ability to play. And I actually read about it because I reserve my own opinion about him.
Mhm,
I think that the problem is that they're putting him in positions that are not his strong suit.
mhm,
And I don't understand why you would do that. It's the same thing. They're doing the same thing with Reichel. It's like they're trying to mold people into the positions that they need.
mhm.
They're not putting them in the positions that they can play.
Yeah, exactly.
And in my mind, I'm like, why would you do that? In what world does that make any sense whatsoever?
Mhm.
But I'm not management. So I can only say so much, you know?
No, I agree. That's something I noticed too. Some players are like
Like,
get that.
can I be totally honest? Can I
Yep.
be totally honest? I don't understand why Sherwood's not in the top six. That to me, no sense. No sense whatsoever. What? Like, what are you guys doing? He literally is leading the NHL in hits. He's like in the top five for goals. I don't know. Just make it make sense. And it's
Make it
not
make
making
sense.
sense.
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't mind if we keep that in.
all
I
right,
will
yep,
let the
okay.
Vancouver I will let Vancouver know that
All
I
right,
am
okay.
displeased with the
Okay.
fact that he is not in the top six.
Okay. We'll keep that in then.
Yeah.
Hear it here first.
Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Don't understand it. Doesn't make any sense to me. If you use your assets, use them, utilize them. They're there for a reason, you know? And to me, it's like you're you're misusing your talent because I don't think the team itself is the problem because we've seen plays where, you know, you've got your Abbotsford lineup like Carlson, Sasson, and Baines, where they were able to execute plays really well. But then you take away Baines and put in someone who doesn't have that same chemistry. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. What's your opinion? I'm curious. You don't have to say it if you don't want to, but
I have a lot of opinions. I will stick with certain ones for now.
Mhm.
Um, I
I I am sticking to my honest opinion.
you know what? Uh, and I hate to blame it on things because it's like you said, like you want to be honest and like your performance at the end of the day is your performance regardless of the circumstances. But I do think if these injuries were not a thing, and some of the main players I think of when it comes to how the injuries are impacting this lineup are like the Teddy Bluegers, where you have these players who usually will take these defensive matchups. You look at Bluger, who has all this time played on the penalty kill, who's leaned on a lot in those defensive situations and on faceoffs. You take one of those away, and all of a sudden, Elias Pettersson is shouldering all of this because maybe management or coaching doesn't exactly trust guys like Ratu or Sasson with that responsibility quite yet, right? So,
Mhm.
and because of that, you kind of see like the focus on offense, for example, start to trickle down. And it's like all of a sudden you've got like you're putting up 2 goals max a game or something, right? But then you've got all your players trying to focus on how to match up defensively, but if they're not equipped with those defensive tools because that's not what they're used to playing, then it's like now what, right? Like we're kind of not doing well at both things. And
Yeah,
like I hate to blame it on injuries, but that
I
is
think
one thing where
yeah.
it's like you notice how things have changed.
I think the big thing for me with the injuries is that maybe management has too much faith that these people will get better. I hate to be that person. And I will say it outright. I don't think this is a controversial opinion. I just think this needs to be said. As much as I love Demko, guys, he's not reliable. At this point in time, he has shown time and time again that his health is not being not manageable. It's not. And you can't have your starting goalie, your star goalie. Like when he plays, I can't lie. He's fantastic. Vesna 100%. But he's not playing. So you can't base your entire like goalie roster off of that when you had, I hate to be that person, but when you have someone like she loves who is healthy, who has shown that he's capable of producing very well at both the AHL and the NHL level, and you go and trade him away and then spend 8.25 million per year on someone who's injured.
But he supports the Goldeneyes.
But he supports the Goldeneyes, and all the more to him. We love that. And this is nothing against Demko. I actually really like him, and I love his style of play. I think when he's in net, he's very composed. You can see that he's focused, and I think he's a fantastic player. I completely agree with, like, I can see why management would want to keep him, but you need to factor in those other parts. And the pros and cons, like the cons list is just far outweighing the pros at this point that I don't see it. Like I don't understand it. But of course, what do I know? I'm not in management. I don't play hockey. I was a swimmer, like so
Hey, you still played a sport.
I did varsity. So
So
I know elite athletics and I know injuries. Because I unfortunately got injured. Like I had a shoulder injury and I tried desperately the last 2 years of my varsity career to remain healthy and get back to where I was. And at some point you just kind of got to say, "Hey, it's not working. Like this just isn't in the cards for you at this point. Wait, get better, and if you really want to go for it, try it again later, but at this point in time, it's just not happening."
I think
And
that's a message that Filipino might need to hear too. But
yeah, shout out Philip Hedl. Just an
shout
FYI,
out.
buddy. It's, I think people view it as like a negative thing. And yes, okay, your career comes to an end, an abrupt end at that, and it's very difficult to cope with. But at the end of the day, it's your health on the line.
Mhm,
And as nice as it is to compete and do the things you love, sometimes it's a toxic relationship.
mhm.
Sometimes it's not, and it's just not meant to be, and you can't force it. And I think, as you said, Filipino needs to kind of learn that lesson because that severe brain damage is not worth another game,
Yeah.
if that.
And you
So
have like there's so much like as much as of course the game of hockey means a lot to a lot of people, at the end of the day, you have a
100%.
life outside of hockey. Even if you play until you're like 40, you still have so much more of your life ahead of you, right? Like you
Yeah.
need to
Well,
keep
even for me, like I swam for 18 years, right? and that becomes your entire identity. It was so hard to take that, like to separate my identity as an athlete to myself as an individual just living life. So I completely understand why it's difficult
Yeah.
and why it's challenging, but you need to come to that point and be like, hey, you know, this just isn't working out.
Mhm.
So maybe management needs to rethink a little bit.
Advice from the athlete.
Yep, advice from an athlete,
I'm
not
so
a
glad we
hockey
have at
player.
least one athlete on this podcast. Because if not, it would just be like, uh, uh,
Yeah. And like I have a bunch of hockey friends too. Like I have a friend who's in the WHL.
mhm.
Um, and he also is with an injury and like his dream is to make the NHL and I'm like, okay, yes, I think that's a fantastic goal, but at some point you need to realize like my health should take priority over my dreams because you don't want to run yourself down to the point where you can't live your life,
Yeah.
you know? So that kind of complete off tangent, but
That's
yeah,
okay.
my
I
bad.
think a lot of people will actually like I think it'll give people a glimpse into how it works, right? Like
Yeah,
so
and
many
I
people are just looking from the outside. When you get a bit of a look at injuries from an inside perspective, it puts things into like,
into perspective.
exactly.
Yeah, I find that a lot of people, like, especially with Demko, I think, and even like Quinn Hughes, I think that people look at it and they're making excuses. They're like, oh, he's probably like faking it or whatever, or it's not as bad. And it's like, no, it's probably really bad. And they
But
probably want to be on the ice extraordinarily bad, which is why, what was it? I think it was so funny. I saw this meme where it was Quinn Hughes in the locker room hearing that they have like a power play
yeah.
come, and then it's like him rising from the dead. And it's like you can see that these players want to be on the ice. They want to play for us, but they just don't have the capacity to do it at this point. And you have to like manage. It's partially, I think it's on management because they should be the ones that are like, hey, as much as I think that you're capable and doing this, it's not happening for you right now. And I'm sorry, but we gotta fix this. Like management's priority, I think, lies a little bit too much within the players itself. And it's great to have that kind of communication with your players and bond, but hockey is hockey. It's a sport. You want to be the best of the best, there's give and take.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that I hope that provides insight as you said. I hope that provides insight to any of you who maybe don't understand the athletic injury perspective.
No, I think that was good. I felt like
Okay.
I was doing an interview there. I was like,
Oh,
oh.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay. Good,
Uh,
good.
okay.
But
One quick thing that I think we might want to mention before we wrap up is their Canucks' third period issues. Uh, as of right now, I think they are leading the NHL in third period goals allowed with 36 throughout the 22 games they have played in. At this point last year, they had allowed 24, to put that into perspective.
did you say 36?
36, yes.
That's not very good. I think they're tired. I
Yeah,
don't, and I don't know if it's like a lack of motivation, because I feel like, okay, you would typically see that in the second period. In my mind, it makes no sense because the first period, you're out. It's the beginning of the game. You're just like off the bat. The second period is kind of like you want to try and carry that momentum, but you have a little bit of leeway. And then the third period is where you want to come back and
yeah.
finish the game.
That's where you should have your urgency, right?
Exactly. That's where you should have your urgency.
Yeah.
But there is very much a lack of, as you
Yeah.
said.
And
So,
as like kind of banking off of that, a stat that ties into that is that they have been tied heading into the third period in 7 different games, but they've only won 3 of these games. So lack of urgency, that might be it, right? If you're seeing them tied by the end of the second and giving up the game by that, like that should be like if that's the case, the third period should be where you're expending your energy. And if you look at like even the Goldeneyes on Friday, never had a lead, head into the third, down a goal, right? And then you come back and win in overtime. Like you need that urgency in the third period, especially if you're being like if you're heading in tied so many times. It's not like you're out of the game. Like
Yeah. I think that is a very good point that you just made, actually. You're not out of the game. You still have 20 minutes to play. 20 minutes is a long time. A lot can happen in 20 minutes, let alone 2 minutes, let alone 1 minute, you know?
right?
Like we've seen it before where it was that game last season where they were playing the Dallas Stars and they had 3 goals in like a minute and 30 seconds.
Mhm.
Where
Urgency,
is that?
right?
Where is that like sense of urgency that we saw last season in the third period? It's just not there.
And like to your point, I feel like part of it might just be that they're tired. Like, and it's tough to say that they're tired when it's only been 22 games, especially when you consider Olympics still have like they still have to play the Olympics. They still have another 60 games to play this season, right? Like the fact that they're this tired this early on,
Not great.
yeah, not promising for the future. But
I mean, I think that they're getting rid of players that they shouldn't be and keeping players that they shouldn't. But as we said, we're not in management, so we don't
uh,
control that.
we can always rant about that another day
Yeah.
for everyone who's sick of hearing us bash on
Yeah.
the Canucks. But
But I do have some faith that maybe something will click. Maybe Adam Foote will put his foot in their mouths and be like, "Hey guys, we gotta let's go," you
that
know?
a visual of him kicking the
Yeah,
goal.
sorry.
I'm like,
But it's not over yet.
yep,
As you said, it's only been 22 games. There's
it's
like
a long
60
season.
something in the
Yep,
entire season. So we still have we still have an opportunity to turn
yeah.
things around.
There's still time.
Yeah.
But I think that's everything from us today. We had a great
Hope you
time.
gained a lot of insight from today's episode. I'd say
Yeah,
this was a good episode to
yeah,
watch
good
for
episode.
sure.
It's gonna be a long one. I already know it
Yeah,
is. But
but worth the watch.
worth the watch for both Goldeneyes and Canucks content.
Yeah.
So have a great week,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.
We'll chat again next week. As always, remember to subscribe if you're interested in Goldeneyes and Canucks content. Leave a comment if you have any topic suggestions, or even reach out to us on socials. But
And we'll put that down in the comments.
but have a great week, everyone, and talk next week.